Greetings and welcome to Pull Up a Chair with me, the Adipose. This is quite exciting. This is the first time I have ever attempted to stream to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Actually, that's a slight lie. I did it once before when I did a Doctor Who Legacy celebrity interview quite a long time ago, and I attempted to do it, but I could do that through a different bit of software. But this is the first time I've tried it simultaneously. And I thought I'd try a new style of show because I like to change things all the time and have a little fiddle and change bits and bobs. So do let me know if everyone can hear and see me. This is my little Twitch posse group over here. And I thought we'd have a little chat. And after we'd have a little chat... Oh, there's an Addy Echo. Oh, is there? Why is there an Addy Echo? Oh, no, apparently there isn't an Addy Echo. I was lied to. There was no Addy Echo. In that case, I've just paused unnecessarily. Thank you, Angelic Creeper. Now I completely lost my track of thought as well. Angelic Creeper has YouTube and Twitch open at the same time. Well, at least we know it works. At least we know it works, which is quite cool. Yeah, so I thought we'd have a little chat, and then we'll either play a game or do some bits and bobs. And I thought today we'd do some painting. But if we do this kind of style of video in the future, then we'll do some other kind of games and bits and bobs. And I've shamelessly stolen the idea from one of my other favorite YouTubers, who's Oxhorn, who does these wonderful videos where he just kind of sits and chats in a relaxed way and then plays something kind of cool. And I think it's a great idea, so I'm stealing it. Thank you, Oxhorn. His channel is far bigger than mine. He does these, like, there seems to be a new thing. Like, gaming videos have gone in such an amazing way now. It's gone from, like, here is a video of me playing a game, to here is a video of me playing a game and narrating a game, to here's a tutorial about this game, to now, like, gaming lore videos, L-O-R-E, you know, people telling you about the world behind these games. And there's famously in Fallout, there's the storyteller, and Oxhorn started doing some as well, where they just kind of talk about the kind of the world. And it shows just how big gaming has got, where, like, a computer game has its own, like, set of followers. Well, a game, like, has its own, like, lore masters, or, like, I guess kind of using the Doctor Who reference, it's kind of like Whovians, you know, people that have seen almost every episode, and they know, you know, which bad guy comes from where and which planet it's from, and what that's all about, and all that kind of stuff. And computer games, or some computer games, have got to the same point now, whether it's the Elder Scrolls series, the Fallout series, maybe the I guess the Warcraft series has definitely kind of got it. But it's nice, and I guess it shows that kind of craving that some of us have for, like, entertaining fantasy worlds is being met in all sorts of different ways now, whether it's TV programs, or whether it's gaming, or whether it's books. I guess the people that used to kind of obsess about the kind of Lord of the Rings world and Middle Earth have now found other places to satiate their appetite for orc and things like that. Today, though, while we are pulling up a chair, I thought I would be a bit controversial and talk about the big political story that's going on. Oh, there's some people talking to me on YouTube as well. Hello, Agor, and hello, Snowjoke as well. Sorry, I haven't got all of that up on the all of those up on the screen there, but that's very, very cool. To be live on YouTube and on Twitch with two sets of chat. Hello, Bethany. Yeah, I remember you. How are you doing? I'm a teacher in my spare time, so that's where she's coming from. But I thought I would go controversial and go straight for the big kind of story of the day, which is the kind of the kind of crazy Russia thing that's been kind of going on. I believe I can put a kind of a BBC window up there with the kind of the news. Yeah. Agrajag is a very beloved member of the posse here, who is our Radiant Anorak. We do a New Year's Doctor Who quiz once a year. She wins every time. No one can get anywhere near her. And no one can get anywhere near her. But this Russia thing is so bizarre. And by the Russia thing, I mean, I assume this news has gone over the world, all over the world. But, like, this is the alleged poisoning of an ex-Russian spy now living in Britain with a nerve agent. And it just seems to have brought the best and the worst out of everyone in the UK. So the full story appears to be that there was a gentleman who worked in Russia, but was actually secretly working for the British, and he was kind of spying on the Russians for us, the United Kingdom. And he was caught and he was arrested, and then there was someone that was doing the same thing the other way, so a Russian spy here. And then many years ago, we released both spies and we swapped over, some sort of kind of spy trade deal. So we arrested some guy, but we sent him back to Russia, and they arrested some guy and they sent him back to the United Kingdom. And now he seems to have been, him and his daughter seem to have been poisoned by a nerve agent in Salisbury, I think it was. And you can see here they're kind of talking about it, and Boris Johnson's kind of talking about it. But it seems to have brought such a bizarre thing, because the first question is, well, who did it? And the smart money seems to be the Russian state, and various people have kind of argued whether it is or it isn't. And our government has come out and said it's the Russians, it's definitely the Russians. And Jeremy Corbyn, who's the leader of our opposition, our kind of Labour Party, has come out and kind of gone, whoa, hold on, we need to kind of think about this, we need to kind of look at it. And it got me thinking, it really got me thinking, because it's become kind of well documented now about kind of echo chambers. Like that we are pre-imprinted now to believe things that agree with our beliefs. So what I mean by that is the idea that, like, if you think a certain celebrity is a fool, or you hate a certain politician, and then someone tells you something bad about that celebrity or something bad about that politician, you're already pre-programmed to believe it and to accept it and go, yeah, that story is completely true. And so with all of the news I've heard about Russia, and probably you've heard about Russia, and all of these things that have kind of happened, and as Agrodec points out, this is the second time a spy has been, or an ex-spy has been killed by Russia. We are pre-programmed to immediately go, well, it's Russia. No question, it's definitely Russia. And before anyone writes in and complains, it looks like it definitely is Russia. But it got me thinking about this idea that we are pre-programmed to accept certain things without question. And then Jeremy Corbyn kind of came up in the House of Commons and kind of said, well, hang on a minute, let's just slow down, let's just have a look at the evidence, let's just make sure we're kind of doing the right thing. And everyone went, no, it's Russia! Ah! And he got kind of shut down for it, and lots of the newspapers were kind of saying, what on earth are you talking about, you know, Comrade Corbyn, all this kind of stuff. And for what it's worth, I'm not really entirely sure where I stand on this one, because if something is clearly true, then it's right to kind of go with it. But it was interesting that he just got so taken to bits for basically kind of saying, hold on, let's be kind of sure about this. And then while I was reflecting on it, I kind of thought, you know what, I hadn't even considered the possibility that it might not have been Russia. Does that make sense? I mean, it looks like it is Russia, it probably is Russia, all that kind of stuff. And so I went to kind of investigate it, but it was just in my own mindset, it hadn't occurred to me that it might not be. And I wonder how many other stories I've seen over the last few years, whether it's about Trump or the Conservative Party or the Labour Party or a particular celebrity, when you get kind of a scandal, or the or I don't know, the Weinstein thing, or whatever it is. But I wonder how many things there are that I've just gone, yeah, that's true, that's awful, that maybe haven't been true. And there's no way for me to know. And there's obviously some things which it's probably better not to know. But I'm doing this module in school at the moment with some of my students about fake news, and in teaching it, it's kind of forced me to kind of confront some of my own prejudices, and because the whole thing about fake news is very much pushed forward by this idea that people will believe things that they want to believe, like Angelic Creeper kind of says there. You know, it's easy to believe the things that you want to hear. And I can see on YouTube, I can see Liam there saying, I'm from the UK. Russia doesn't help itself by not giving the UK things the UK asks for. I agree. I mean, the thing about this whole thing with Russia is it almost certainly is Russia, but it just got me thinking about how easy it is to kind of accept things about people that we like, or people that we don't like. And there was a really good video on BBC, which I can't show you for copyright reasons, but go and dig around it. And they put forward the reasons to say why they believe it is Russia. And it was really, really well put together video. And they kind of, at the end, they said, we can't prove it, but this is what the evidence suggest. And reason number one was this attack was done by a nerve agent that, as far as we know, has only ever been produced in Russia. Piece of evidence number one. Piece of evidence number two is the guy that has actually been attacked severely by this used to be a person that spies on Russia. So, to be blunt, the motive is there. And who else would have a motive to get this guy? And who else with a motive to get this guy would have access to that chemical? And option number three, piece of evidence number three is there is no credible alternative. So by putting those three things together, that they are, to use the Cluedo reference, they had access to the murder weapon, they were in the right place, and they were in the library when with Colonel Scarlett. The evidence would suggest, as the governor says, it's highly likely to be them. Which brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about is then, well, what the hell do you do about it? Like, what do you do? See, Bethany, what on earth do you do if you're a country that is far bigger than you, has a far stronger military than you, is geographically kind of hulking over you, has a reputation for kind of taking over places like is it the Ukraine, or they annexed a part of the Ukraine, was it? Correct me if I'm wrong on wherever it was. You know, what do you do when a country like that comes over and attacks or kills one of your citizens? You know, do you say something? Do you do something? Do you arm the military? Like, what can we do? And so it's been interesting to watch British politicians kind of come out and try to find the things that they can say. Because what they can't do is come out and go, right, that's it, you've attacked one of our citizens, war! Because we would get destroyed. We would get destroyed. We would get absolutely destroyed. And we can't come out and put massive punishments and sanctions toward Russia, because how could we? Yeah, I mean, there's minor things that we can kind of do, but I don't think it would hurt all that much. And the follow-up problem is that Donald Trump, as far as we understand it, is far more pro-Russia than other presidents that have been there for a while, and so he's going to be less keen on doing anything spectacular kind of about it. So we can't even kind of go running to Mummy and say, excuse me, he's done something wrong. And all of this kind of led to the very, very bizarre situation of our defense secretary, whose name I've just completely forgotten. Gavin Williamson, there you go, I got it. Our defense secretary, Gavin Williamson, who is a pretty senior minister now in our cabinet. He's worked his way up through the Conservative Party. He was a chief whip, which means someone that makes sure our parliament kind of works as it should, kind of, according to the Conservative Party. And he's been promoted to defense secretary. He's a confidant of the government, and obviously he's kind of the person that is in charge of our armed forces. And this senior minister, who was in charge of our armed forces, decided that the best thing he could do about Russia was to go onto TV and make a statement and say, yeah, Russia should go away and shut up. And I watched this clip just like, did that just happen? Did that just happen? Like, our defense secretary is a 12-year-old. Like this senior military guy just came out, or the guy that's in charge of our military just asked Russia to shut up in response to an attempted murder. It was just so bizarre. But what else can we do? Like it's got to that bizarre point of we can't really do anything. So the things that we've ended up doing are absurd. Go away and shut up. I mean, can you imagine Putin sitting there being kind of like, what have the British done? Oh, they've expelled some diplomats. Oh, this was expected. Oh, they've sent me a message. What is the message? Go away and shut up. What? It's just bizarre, farcical, and yet scary, because what's the alternative? What is the alternative? We can't send in military and shouldn't send in military, as Hawk is saying here. Don't poke the bear, the Russian bear. So as a country, we're kind of reduced to going, oh, well, that's not very good, isn't it? British pride, and go away and shut up is the British response. So there we go. That was today's pull up a chair. This very scary, I think, situation whereby it would appear, controversially, that Russia is now going into other sovereign countries and attacking citizens there. But here's another thought. So one other thought that had occurred to me. I wonder how different this is. And I'm being controversial. Feel free to disagree with me, but please don't hate me. I wonder how different this is to the Osama bin Laden assassination from, what was it, like 4 or 5 years ago now? Because if you think about it, like, Osama bin Laden committed a horrific crime against the United States of America. He was hunted down over a period of years, and then America went into another country. I believe it was either Pakistan or Afghanistan. Correct me if I'm wrong. They went into another country and killed that citizen in their country for crimes he'd committed in America. And everyone more or less went, good, we got him. And I would agree with that. But now let's look at this one from the Russian perspective. Like, from the Russian perspective, this guy that's been attacked is a traitor. He is a person that spied on Russia for the British. And obviously he spied for the British, so he's kind of on my side. But like, look at it from the Russian perspective. He's a spy and he's a traitor who's betrayed his country. And they have then come into our country to take revenge and to kill him. And I wonder if it's all that different. You know, when you kind of look at it on paper, I mean, there are differences. One is a terrorist and one is a spy. Important difference. One killed a huge amount of people, and the other one kind of passed on secrets. So you know, the crime is different. But in terms of one country going into another and dealing with people that it seems like a criminal, it's not all that different. And as people are kind of saying here, you know, one group's hero is another person's kind of traitor. But I mean, I was interested to see that kind of viewpoint hasn't necessarily been on the news. And I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong. I'm not necessarily giving a view on it. I'm just kind of pointing out the kind of the similarity that's on there. But Tegan is right, and I think the most disturbing thing for me as a British citizen is the fact that the attack that seems to have occurred could have been so much worse. It could have been a nerve agent released in a shopping centre, in a restaurant. I think it was an Italian restaurant. And it could have really, really been disturbing, and many people could have been affected. And thank goodness that they weren't. I believe it was one police officer, that got made sick at the time. And that's awful. And I suppose if you are going to go into another sovereign country to get your criminals... Hello, here's my cat. He's come to join in, pull up a chair. Then you've got to really be very, very targeted to those individuals to not kind of threaten civilians at the time. So I think there's a lot of things to think about. And I'll be interested to see your thoughts. So do stick them in the comment section, either here or on YouTube. And if you have any kind of thoughts on it, I love a debate. Try not to start a fight anyone, but do join in the debates. Shall we paint something? So the idea behind these kind of pull up a chair videos is we'll chat about something and then we'll do something. We'll play a game, or we'll do an activity, or a quiz, or we'll listen to my cat meow. You know, any of the aforementioned things. And I thought we'd do a little paint along with Bob Roth, if we can, because I haven't done any painting for a while, and we should, quite frankly. We should. So I'm just going to get my iPad up on the screen here. Hopefully this will work. So I'm just going to change my scene across, and I'll look and see what else you guys are talking about. So here's my drawing with Addy setup. Hello, small bean. This is my cat. My cat he loves the attention, especially when I don't really want to give him it. That's kind of his thing. And I'm just going to put my iPad screen, yeah, like so. So it looks seamlessly beautiful, and I can paint, and you can see what I shall be painting. And I'm going to be painting along with a little bit of Bob Ross. Now, I can't stream, for copyright reasons, hopefully you understand, I can't stream the Bob Ross through here back to kind of YouTube, but I'll show you which one I'm doing, and if you want to kind of watch the video along with me, you can, and I'll probably show a few kind of freeze frames from it while I'm kind of going with it. But we're going for the quite famous one, oh, thank you, Gore. There's some interesting views here on YouTube. Henky H is saying, I watched your Simpsons Tapped Out. You're welcome, Henry. Got another couple of students kind of popped on. Hello, Sam. I'm pretty sure America would go after Edward Snowden as well. Matt's kind of made another kind of comparison there. And Gore is enjoying the quality content. Hello. I'll give you some food in a little bit, all right? You can come to me. I'm just going to put my cat next to me. It might make him a little more peaceful. There he is. There he is. I'll bring you on stream if he keeps going. Right, so this is the Bob Ross Mystic Mountain video. I will just paste the link into both YouTube and onto Twitch if any of you want to kind of come along with it. I believe Mystic Mountain has kind of become the famous one. Because it's got a lovely name, and it very much kind of gives us things. Now I've downloaded some Bob Ross brushes, which were from a guy called George. They cost a little bit of money, but I do very much mean a little bit of money. And he called them the Ross Bob brushes. If anyone's interested in them, and I can if anyone's interested, I can paste the link to it. And I think it cost me like a tenner or 15, but they're often kind of on sale. And basically, what he's done is he's tried, and this is always the problems I had when trying to do artwork on the iPad, is that Bob Ross uses all of these little tricks to make his digital painting, his brush can do these all kind of the weird effects, and you have to kind of emulate it on the iPad, and it's not as easy as you might hope or might think or might want it to be. So I'm just going to jam my iPad in this hole so it'll stand up by itself. And so what this guy has done is he's come up with some brushes that try to basically kind of fake Bob's already faked techniques. So, and an obvious one would be like where Bob Ross does his happy trees, he does them in seconds, and basically he gets a brush and he just stabs it into the he just kind of stabs it into the canvas repeatedly, and and as the brush splays out, he gets that tree effect. So we need to find a way to kind of replicate that without having a brush that we can splay out. Hello, detective. Indeed, it has been a while. So I'm going to turn the sound off on the Bob Ross because, again, copyright reasons. But as we can see, he's doing his yellow ochre. And I'm going to press play on here, so I'll have to take it off the screen for copyright reasons. And but that's what I will be doing. Right. Hello, Crystal Sky. So I will try and tell you what Bob is doing, and you'll be able to see what I am doing, and hopefully we'll end up with a masterpiece that isn't too terrible. By the way, could I just do a disclaimer that I suck at painting? I just really like doing it, and I do like these kind of really, really quick ones. So Bob has a magnificent afro. I need a Bob Ross. If I'm going to do this regularly, I need to get myself a Bob Ross wig, because at the moment I'm kind of the anti Bob Ross. Bob's got his Pathala blue and his titanium white and his off-spunk yellow and his You Can't See Me black and his Ford Sierra and his Dick Van Dyke brown. And he's got his I'm a Sap green, you know, the usual selection of Bob Ross colors that I'm sure you would be looking at. And he's starting off with some blue, so we should probably do the same thing. And it looks like he's going to start up on the sky. So I'm going to use this Bob Ross Wild and Wet, and I'm going to go to the blue. I've got a Bob Ross palette here. I'm going to make it quite a strong blue. And at the moment, Bob is kind of painting some shapes into the sky. So he's actually doing it more of a splodge, whereas I'm kind of painting mine on. I kind of need a scratchier effect if I'm going to kind of replicate his. So he's leaving some gaps for the clouds, so we'll try and do the same thing. Although his blue is bluer than mine, although like I always say, it's not how blue it is, it's what you kind of do with it. But I will actually try and make that blue just a little bluer. And then maybe we'll kind of go over the top and kind of, because I assume we're going to be blending these later on. And I'll just bring the opacity down a little bit as well, so we get a bit of a mix. And now, so now he's just changed brush, and he's now kind of blending this together. So that's what we're going to do. So we're now going to go to the Bob Ross Wet and Wild mix, and he's kind of making little circles on it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to, he's got his 2-inch brush, which I'm sure he's going to beat the devil out of real soon, and he's just going in circles over this blue, pretty blue combination that he's done. I am slightly annoyed that his blues are lighter than mine. We might see if we can fix that in post-production. Interestingly, his sky comes down lower. Now we might have to use some digital tricks in a second to get this one going. Okay, he's doing the water now, so I'm just going to pause there for a sec. He's now doing water, and I don't want to get behind him, so I'm just kind of putting these kind of colors together. So we're starting to get the look of the clouds. So I'm going to go back to the Wild and Wet Bob, and he's just brought in a little bit kind of over here, which kind of fades out a bit. Makes it a little bit lighter, and then again we'll blend it. So I've just realized what people are saying in the chat. What am I doing? Best to do the things you suck at. Yeah, I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. I hate doing things I suck at. I like getting better at things I suck at, but I don't necessarily like the alternative. Now this is where we are going to cheat a bit, because we also have, in using the power of digital, we have a water clouds brush. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to paint in the cloud effect just at the top and around these areas. I'm just going to change the size of it as I kind of go, and this kind of cloudy brush will hopefully give us a really nice cloudy effect. I can kind of dot that around a bit. It's not too bad. Ooh, Tegan's gone pink. Ooh. I just want to get my blue more similar to his blue. And I believe I can do that in the hue and the saturation. So if I just going to lighten my blue ever so slightly. Cool. New layer. Okay, so I'm having fun. This is fun. Hey Jonah, I don't know if you're still watching. I wonder how I tell how many people are watching on YouTube. 14. Hello, 14. About the same on the other one. So let's see what Bob is doing. So Bob is bringing in water from the bottom. That sounds awkward, but you know what I mean. So we'll grab the same blue now from up here. And he's using a different style of kind of brush. So his water one is very, very, very smooth. And I think this wild wet one won't necessarily give me the right look. So he's done the usual thing of, I need to bring it in from the side. Maybe I kind of can do it. So he's kind of creating a water shimmer that goes down the middle of this, which we are going to try and delicately rip off. Need to make sure our color goes all the way to the edge, otherwise it won't look very good. And if possible, just trying to vary the color a bit. I should probably be using my my stylus, but I don't want to. Now I'm going to go back to the wild mix, and I'm going to go to the blend, and I'm going to see if I can make this. I'm going to do what he does and just kind of pull across. Let's turn up the opacity a bit. By the way, for those of you who want to know what I'm doing with what all the different buttons down the side are doing, that's not too bad. So this one right here, so the one button next to me, that's opacity. So that's how much of the effect I'm putting over in each. My favorite student, Archie. Hey Griffin, how you doing? I remember Archie. Hey Archie, you were cool. Yes, that one's the opacity, and then above is the size of the brush. So you can see it there getting kind of bigger and smaller. And normally you kind of want to have it as big as possible, without it losing as big as possible to kind of have a bigger kind of texture. Now there's one called, is it called Sprinkles or something that I saw earlier that I can try and water it up a little bit. Again, I could use a slightly bigger one. I'm just going to undo that because we can. Happy accidents. Less opacity. Kind of giving it a bit of a shimmer, which I like. Gives it a little bit of texture, which is quite nice. And then I'm just going to make that line a bit firmer. So I'm going to go to pure white. And then I'm just going to draw a line here. And then you can, if I'm right, you can, oh dear. Oh no, that's smudge. I want that one. So you see how I've got a line there. So I can take that line. If I hold and drag, I can make it a completely straight line like that. So then if I get that line, and pull it down on the horizon, I can just make it a really like firm cutoff, which should make it look more like an ocean. In some way. We'll come back to the water. I don't think he's finished his water yet. I think my water actually needs to be slightly darker, which is kind of the opposite of the sky, actually. But we can do that. Although now that's played silly buggers with the lines. No, let's forget that. Okay, right. Maybe I should have actually done that with the eraser rather than the line. Okay, let's see what Bob's doing. So Bob is still blending and blending and blending. And he's probably telling me I can beat the devil out of something. Oh, he is. He's currently doing the things that he does. I have Fortnite. I didn't really like it. More of a Battlefield man myself. So Bob's putting some pink in, some red into the white. What is? Thank you, Agor, for watching this Skyrim stuff that I make. I like Skyrim a lot, and I miss playing it. Hopefully, I'll go back to it at some point. So Bob is putting a tiny, tiny little bit of pink, very, very delicate pink, right at the top of the clouds. I guess to give a hint of where the sun is coming from. Ooh. So I think he went to the crimson and he probably pulled it almost all the way up there. Nuts. So I guess if we want to try and replicate this, then we're going to go to the clouds again. I think I've just realized that mine and his pictures are actually inversed. No, that can't be right. No, my pink is too pink. His is very, very close to just being white. He's kind of putting it at the top of the clouds. Which is interesting because we kind of slightly got that already. Because our blue has a hint of purple in it. And then once again, he's kind of blending. I think we're going to have to call this effect subtle. I don't think it's changing huge amounts to the picture, if indeed anything. Although I am slightly annoyed with myself that I now seem to have a different shape at the top of the picture to him. He's got more blue sky at the top. He's now just whizzing his hand around. Blending and blending and blending. Okay, I think I've done my blending. Right, what's he doing? Looks like we're going to need a new layer. Looks like it's time for us to go mountainous. Wow, he's put some really dark colors together. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush, paint knife. And it looks like he's basically got black. But I'm guessing it's probably really close to the purple. Is Far Cry 5 out yet, Tegan? I thought it was coming out, but not out yet. Okay, so I'm on a new layer. This is going to be our mountain layer. And we're going somewhere around here. That's too big. I think he might be better at this than me. So he's kind of cheating here by using the his wonderful abilities of textured palette knives, which we're trying to recreate. We'll have to see how this looks when I zoom out. I've got a feeling it might look a bit too patchy. I think I need a lighter colour. Something kind of coming down the other side. The little bit of texture. I think I've got too much going on that bit there. Kind of just needs like one pass, otherwise it starts to look too busy. Now we're going to go back to our cloud brush, and we're going to go straight white, and we're going to kind of fog around the bottom of it to kind of give it the look that it's kind of coming out of the mist. If we can. Undo that a bit. So that it kind of fades into nothing. Not my greatest work. I think I might need to do this again. I think the brush I'm using isn't firm enough. It's like a hint of a mountain without actually being a mountain. Right. I'm going to do this mountain again. Okay, I'm going to start off with a different brush. I'm going to go for something a bit thicker. Hey, Lacey, yeah, I remember you. There's something a bit thicker like this that I can then kind of texture maybe a little bit afterwards. So there's our first mountain peak. And then there's the second. With a kind of a gentle kind of runoff. Then I'm just basically going to colour this in as like a big block of colour. So you don't really want the sky coming through the mountain. But then we'll start putting the lighter colour kind of on top of it. This may be no better than the first attempt. But whatever happens with this attempt, I'll stick with it. So now let's change that to basically a white, and then I'll go for a bigger texture, and we'll just kind of see what happens if we kind of come down the side here. And I think we are actually getting the effect that we're looking for. We can play with the opacity a bit. get the texture we're looking for on the other side. Still not great, however, it's our first attempt for a long time, so I'm not going to beat myself up over it. And then I'm just going to try and fade out the bottom using this kind of cloud effect. I think I probably should have brought down the other mountain a little bit lower. I think it's better. Still don't think it's great. I'm just going to use that cloud brush again. And just kind of make this more like, almost like a mist. And it starts to kind of bring some color into that area as well. And it kind of then fades into the sky a bit. Good to hear some of you are getting up the old... Thinking about getting up the programs as well. Right, layer 4. Not all my fans, Jack. Thank you. Especially not on Twitch. This is the first time I've streamed on YouTube for ages. Okay, so I made myself a brush earlier called Distant Tree because I didn't really have one that did the same job. So I'm on a brand new layer and I'm going for a distant tree, and he's basically now... So I'm watching a Bob Ross video at the same time, and Bob is basically now just putting a big green splodge diagonally down, which I think he's going to try and make look like trees. So we'll try and replicate the same thing by going to a green and then going quite faint, I think. So we want to get the kind of size of this right. So I'm gonna try and do a triangle of them kind of going up and round. So this brush, I'll just show you this side. So this brush basically thickens as I've made it so it kind of tapers at the top, starts thin, and then gets a bit thicker. And so the idea is really looking for an effect of distant trees. I think I brought that down too low. And we can have some bigger and some are smaller. It's just going to come around a bit like that. Then we're going to get the color, we're going to go a little bit darker. No, even darker than that. I'm going to bring a second line down here, and hopefully the darker color will make him look closer. But before I then put that darker color on, let's go back to the cloud brush, which I know everyone is shocked to see me use. And I want to make the bottom of these trees faint. So it's almost like the trees themselves are kind of coming out of the mist. And that little bit of separation might then let us put in a second row that kind of cuts across it a bit. That still needs to be darker. So much darker. Yes, indeed, Bob Ross. Oops. As I carefully put a big splodge. Nope, stop putting splodges on the paint. That kind of gives us 2 rows. And then again, we'll fade out the bottom of it. Then anything we kind of put in front of it again has that possibility of kind of separation and not all looking like it's the same thing. It's okay, it's not great, but we're learning. I don't think I have an audio echo, Jack. I think I need to bring this whole thing up slightly. And maybe even go slightly lighter. And then we'll do one more row. And we'll go as dark as we can on this kind of color. Almost to the black. No, darker still. I think again it needs to come up higher. Okay, so Bob is now being a cheeky devil. And he has just kind of smudged his picture into the water to give it a reflection. But we can actually be cheekier. Because we're painting digitally. I don't think I actually like that much smudging here. This is, in theory, coming down to the water. I'll have a little bit less of that. Yeah, happy accident. Hey, Dark Productions, I'm good. It's alright, Jack, no worries. Okay, so what Bob's done, basically, Bob's got another brush. And he's basically gone something like this. If anyone wants the link to what I'm watching, just let me know. Oops, dear. So Bob's basically gone something like that in the water and then blended it to kind of give the effect of a reflection. But we can actually be a cheeky bugger. And we can select that layer. If I can remember how on earth you do this. there a copy? Copy. New layer. Paste. And then invert it. With a little bit of distortion. And we can try and make it look like a reflection. So it's going to need to be a little bit brighter. It's going to need to be a little bit less saturated, or maybe just a little bit more blue. It might need to be slightly longer as well. Maybe. And then we're going to blend the hell out of it. But I'm not very good at... I haven't yet found a brush that I really like the blend out of. There's one here called Ross Bob Mixer Wet. Whoa, that's way too much. Hmm. And that's not doing what we want. We want one which is basically gonna just ever so gently kind of pull at it. And like make a smear. Maybe a little bit like this. Pull down the opacity. Oh yeah, you see that? So the shapes just start to become a bit less distinct. Let's do that again, because I think that's the one we want to do. A bit less opacity again, so just really gently. Pull that out of it. So it becomes more of a splodge. I'm not loving it, I'm not hating it, but I'm going to move on. Okay, now I'm going to put in, as T has done, a big fat white line. He had one here, there was one called Horizon Fan. So we'll grab the Horizon one, and we'll go really bright white. You have no idea how many favorite students I had. Neither do they. Not liking this brush at the moment. That's nicer. So it's almost like some splosh on the shore. Kind of giving a bit of separation where one stops and one begins. I think we probably need to lose this blue bit a bit. Okay, how are we feeling about that? Right, pressing play on Bob again. Let's see what Bob's coming up with. I don't like what I've got going on the right-hand side. The right-hand side's a mess. But we'll see what he does first, because he tends to paint over this kind of stuff anyway. Oh, looks like everyone is exchanging Snapchats on YouTube. That's not going to end well. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, Bob's just grabbed himself a lot of paint. A lot of paint. And a fan brush. I think he's going for a tree. Pretty sure he's going for a tree case. This is where digital painting really starts to suck, because making a tree like this is really, really tricky. Interesting, his mountain's a lot bigger than mine. Insta bigger mountain. Okay, so Bob is now putting some dark trees over the far right hand side using his fan brush, using his magical Bob ability to just be like, look, it's a fan brush, and makes a huge like tree thing. Hello, Sienna, how you doing? How's things going at school, you guys? Are you guys still at Kings? You must have left King's Landing by now, surely. When you like year 11ish? I'm on Procreate, made from Dark Productions. So Bob has just made himself a pretty much black island with some trees on it, and then he's made a load of splodge. Oh god, this is going to be tricky hard. This is going to be pretty hard to do. I'll just show you the updated picture of what he's doing so you can see what I'm trying to aim for now. So that's what he's just done. With one brush, he just kind of went and then smudged it and made it all of that kind of work. Okay, so I'm going to make a new layer, which I'm going to put on everything else. Yeah, Sienna, but on here we call me Addy. So he did it, I think, with the fan brush, and there is a fan brush on here. This is going to be where it's going to start going horribly, horribly wrong. So I'll go to the green, and then basically I'm going to put it right down to black, because that's what he's doing. Oh, it's snowing again outside. I've got a cat. I've got Procreate. I've got a painting of a mountain, and I've got snow outside. What a way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Right. So this is where I failed to draw anything like what he's just drawn, but I shall give it my best. So the shape is... Okay. So this is when we can all... I believe it's tradition to shout ruined at this point. So his start just below the tree line. We've got one there, one there, one there. think my lines need to be tapered. Possibly. I might draw these trees a few times. We'll see how it goes. I was talking to all of you. Let's not scrap. There were some that were like year 8 and some that were year 7, and but some of the people here earlier were slightly older. I can kind of do a hint of tree like this, but it's not going to win any awards for like best tree lookalike. Because his ones kind of have this like almost a kind of a curl to it. Yeah, it's a slightly better shape if I actually make a slight kind of curl as I go across. I don't think this brush is quite thick enough. And I think the left tree, to be blunt, doesn't really look like a tree. Let's compare what I've done to what he's done. It's not terrible, but I'm going to do it again. I also want my colour to be slightly greener. And I wonder if there's a better brush. Whoa, not that brush. Nope, that sucks. Excellent. There's now dueling conversations going on YouTube and on Twitch. Great. He's not permanently taken over Cavendish, is he? This brush is called Happy Shrub. Let's see what this one looks like. Nothing happy about that. No, I can't make a tree out of that. I can make some bushes out of that by splatting. Happy flowers, happy bushes. Let's see what this one looks like. No, you kind of need that slightly scratchy effect. Kind of almost give it like a hint of leaves. That one's a little bit scratchy. But I think the first one was better. Okay, let's go back to the first fan brush, and we'll do the first one again. Oh, everyone's talking about degrees. Because she's interested, Jack. You're in there. Definitely needs like a tapering at the top. I wonder if I could start off with the distant tree brush. Just to put that shape in. And then kind of build out from there. This may be a terrible idea, but that we learn by experimentation. Then I'm just going to start putting in the weird branches at a kind of a twisting angle. Leave some gaps here and there, make it a bit lopsided. Make it generally kind of come out a bit further. This tree's going to be in front of that tree. Little ones. This one's going to hang a bit over to the side. Let's go with something like that. It's not good. Not terrible. A couple of little logs. Some like scratchy mess. And then I think he's done then the same in reverse. He says drawing the tree in the wrong direction. Brilliant. So that tree would then come out of this. I mean, I could copy this down, but let's try his technique on this one first. And that one goes up more. And then that one kind of comes out to the side as I talk to my own waist. Oh, you guys can't see my screen anymore. Why not? Did anyone tell me you couldn't see my screen? This is a lot more stable than it used to be, though, this program. I used it a few years ago, but this is a lot more iProxforce. So then what? So I think I've got the wrong color, first of all. So I think mine's too green. So let's make it darker. A bit more saturated. So then he's gone and grabbed the reflection and pulled it down. So I need a really good smudge brush. So what happens if I just grab this and pull? Ugh. I'm not sure that's the look we were going for. Lower opacity. Big fat brush. Pull it down. Pull it down. Pull it down. Pull it down. Let's see if there's a different brush we can use. Smudge wet. There's one here actually called Smudge. Oh dear God. Oh, the opacity on that's too much, but that's not terrible about what we're actually looking for. Get the opacity down even lower, then go across to the sides. I'm blurring it a bit. In fact, that's probably blurred it too much. It's just kind of disappeared. Yes. It's not as good as his, but I'm going to go with it. All right, let's see what he does now. If we do this more regularly, we'll get faster and we'll pick up the techniques as we go. As the snow gets thicker. I think this actually needs to be slightly bigger, longer. A bit more than that, maybe. Oh, he isn't finished. He's adding in trunks and all sorts. Thank you, Angelic Creeper. So I'm just watching Bob. He's just grabbing a far brighter green here. I imagine he's probably about to change what he's got on these things. Is he carrying on with this tree or is he doing a brand new tree? Well, he's teasing me by just doing stuff with brushes. Oh, wow. He suddenly brightened up the whole thing by doing like weird. Okay, so he's kind of picking out some of the top lines in each one. God, he's good. He's just put like 4 lines in it and made it look amazing. He's so fast. He's like a painting ninja. I think my lines are too regular. Oh, now he's lost me. He's already making a brand new tree somewhere. I've done worse things in my life. Right, okay, no, he's doing a huge tree down the left-hand side. Andy, look at the chat. What? Oh, yeah, whoops. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. No, I didn't mean to show Bob. Sorry. Thank you, chatters, for telling me of my mistake. He gets the kind of erratic shape of these trees so well. In just like a few kind of swipes. Those trees are terrible. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Mm. It's tricky to like not be too regular when trying to put an irregular shape in, which I know makes no sense, but in my head I know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say I made a big freaking mess. That's what I'm trying to say. Where's my foliage brush? This one. Same color. Right, it's time to go splat-tastic. I really don't like these trees on the right hand side. There we go, instant bush. Which sounds really inappropriate. Okay. Bush, great. Tree on the left, terrible. Don't know if there's going to be a lot I can do to save the tree on the left, but let's see what I can do. And then we'll just about call it done. Not bad for the first time I've tried to draw Bob Ross for like... what, a year? Ah, no, that's terrible. Oh, I'm just put a big yellow splodge over. No, stop it. Right. The trees on the left are awful. The rest of it is all right. I think I might just make this. I think I might just make this a lot better. Boom. Much better. Much better. Right. Okay. We'll call it a day there. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for coming in. I hope you enjoyed this little time of discussion and artwork. And if you're enjoying yourself on Twitch, then thanks for coming. If you'd like to support the channel, then of course you can subscribe or follow, depending on which medium you are at. And if you attempt this picture yourself, feel free to tweet me a copy at the Adipose TV. And I'm sure you'll do some better than me, especially on the tree side. But it's not bad. It's not bad. All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. And I will see you all soon. If I can work out how to stop streaming to 2 things at once. Probably this button here. Right. Farewell.